Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. A lot of people think they may have missed out on investing in Tesla. The company has already 10x twice, so missed the boat on that one. And sure, these people may have missed out on some pretty sizable stock price jumps, but back then, Tesla was a different company. The investors who invested in those companies, they didn't invest in a company they thought Tesla was going to be today. When the IPO dropped, Tesla had not even unveiled the Model S yet, let alone the Model 3 or the Cybertruck. I mean, I've been buying Tesla stock for about 5 years, but back then, I didn't know I was investing in a company that could potentially make robotaxis. I invested in a company that made a car that had achieved something no one else could, an electric vehicle with a practical range. I'm a big car person and I know a reasonable amount about them, and it was obvious to me early on that electric cars were the future. The only reason I didn't buy at the Tesla IPO was because I had no money. In fact, my capital was tied up in property. It just took me that long to get out of the property to invest in Tesla. It's a long story. Anyway, I managed to finally get invested into Tesla, which has been a roller coaster ride ever since, but I managed to hold on tight. Like I said, when I invested in Tesla, I had invested in a company that made practical electric vehicles, not cars that drove themselves, an energy business, or potential robot factories. I could still do the numbers and work out that Tesla could 10x perhaps in 2025 if they can build enough cars, with the potential profit margins they could see, and then it 10x'd much earlier, and somewhat more. And now the stock price may seem too high because Tesla have already shown they can achieve what I thought might take them until 2025, but there's so much more business than just the cars now. It looks like FSD will be achieved, in my opinion. So this was kind of like me having faith in Tesla before they'd made their Model 3, and me believing that Tesla could make the Model 3 that could end up being the best-selling luxury sedan. Just like now, it's still the same. Tesla is not finished growing. It is not yet a matured company. For example, we have prototypes of FSD working, and you might believe now that FSD Level 5 can be achieved, and that could also eventually lead to robotaxis. And if that happens, then you should 10x your investment. Do you see? This is what I did. I thought Tesla's cars could be that successful. I believed the Model 3 could be that big a seller, particularly when we were told a $35,000 starting price tag. I thought everyone would buy an electric car at that price, but I didn't know there'd potentially also be a $25,000 Tesla coming later. I mean, if you think the Model 2 will be the best-selling car of all time, then that alone could be another reason to invest in Tesla in a hopeful 10x return. I partly invested in Tesla because they achieved incredible things, and of course, Elon Musk. Even though I didn't know what products they may be bringing out, I also had faith in them as a company and CEO that they would be led in the right direction with a good mission. Again, if you're a big believer in Tesla's energy business potential, then that could possibly be 10x too. We're talking energy storage, solar tile roof, power walls, and megapacks. But of course, auto bidder as well. And in the past, I've run simulations and models that could see Tesla's energy business alone at 10x from where we are today. Tesla's energy business is still tiny in comparison and contributes to a very small part of Tesla's current valuation. There is of course the entire AI side of Tesla. Some people may think that that could be massive too, perhaps as much as another 10x maybe. And when we add robots in there as well, then that one really doesn't have a cap. You might say the largest addressable market would be to replace all existing labour. But bear in mind, these robots could be much more efficient at our jobs than us. For starters, it might be closer to 1/10 the workforce required, or possibly even less. Maybe 100 million robots is enough for 90% of robot replaceable jobs, especially when you consider what sort of accessories or machines they could also work with. Then all the things we as humans are not capable of, or are too dangerous for humans. This doesn't really have a cap, but I guess $100 trillion or so. It may be a bit of a lottery ticket, but 100x your money is still really good. With a $10,000 investment, that's $1 million. Perhaps some people view it like that. They manage to save $10,000 and invest in Tesla, in the hope it could be worth $1 million in 20 years or so, which is a decent chunk to help with retirement. I mean, it's nice to have that hope, like a lottery ticket each week, except it lasts for 10 to 20 years when investing, rather than having to buy a new one each week. There are also simulations and models of robotaxis and energy achieving around $100 trillion valuations too. Anyway, when I invested, there were not these sorts of opportunities that we know of. Tesla hadn't even announced anything about their own batteries even, let alone the fact that Tesla were able to produce the absolutely amazing tabless dry battery electrode, cobalt-free, energy-dense, low-cost, fast-to-manufacture 4680 batteries. Batteries being the most expensive part of an electric car at around 1/3 the cost of manufacturing, Tesla's batteries are half the cost, which means the entire cost of the car reduces by 1/6, well, slightly more, as you also require fewer batteries. A car that previously cost $30,000 to produce is now under $25,000. All profit. Nope. Back then, there was only perhaps the announcement that Panasonic and Tesla would build a factory. This was Tesla's first factory, and you had to hope the construction went well. You had to hope the battery line went well, and hope Tesla didn't go bankrupt doing it. Yes, Tesla were flying close to the sun at times, and could have very easily gone bankrupt, and I would have lost my entire investment. But now we have the equivalent of the 2 new factories that we hoped went well, and they did. But the stock price hasn't moved much, since these factories barely began construction. So since then, the Nevada factory went well, and so did the Chinese factories, and Berlin and Texas too, and right now we aren't having to hope any new factories are going to go well, because they all went really well, let alone betting the entire company on them. And Tesla have demonstrated time over time how competent they are in building new factories. Back in 2014, you didn't know that yet. Also, when I invested, there was no mention of a 20 million cars a year target, which is more than double the current largest deliveries, which is Volkswagen. We perhaps might have expected a decent market share for Tesla in the automotive market, but not the largest market share. I mean, of course, we hoped that might be the case, but when you started thinking like that back then, it almost sounded delusional that a company could achieve such aims. But Tesla have surprised us so many times like this before. Now I can make videos on anything that Tesla may potentially do, and now there are a lot fewer people laughing at such ideas. And as we see, there are a lot of other avenues that Tesla can take that will easily lead to another 10x. It's all about believing in the product and whether Tesla can achieve it. Yes, Tesla's stock price may be over 10 times more expensive than what I paid for it, but who's to say it's also not 10 times more of a company than it was back then too, with 10 times more potential again. And technology is only getting better these days, and at faster rates. We're at such an important time in civilization. It's time to make the most of it and decentralize energy and set up renewable systems whilst our civilization is actually at a time where it is capable. There have been many great civilizations in the past too, but they collapse, and a lot of their knowledge is lost, from Rome to Egypt. Right now, we have this window of opportunity to apply major resources to transitioning off fossil fuels and backing up the human species by becoming multi-planetary. Remember, also back when the Tesla stock price was about 1/10 it is today, there was also this whole narrative of the competition is coming, reigning strong, or the next Tesla killer. Some of us did think there was potential competition on the way. Jaguar didn't take much time making their electric I-Pace, and it looked like the Porsche Mission E was on the horizon too. All Tesla offered at the time was the Model S and X, and we were now seeing clear competitors for those market segments. Although a lot of us thought that Tesla was vastly superior still, especially when it came to range and performance. Well, I don't think any of us thought the competition would be coming up so short, still to this day. I mean, most of them are literally still struggling to match the range of the 2012 Model S today. But anyway, investing in Tesla today, we've been given 5 more years for the competition to catch up, and instead, Tesla seem to have gained an even further lead. Meaning today, when you invest in Tesla, you know you're backing the number one EV. Back then, we didn't know Tesla was headed to be the number one auto manufacturer, let alone just EV. But sure, some of us still hoped. And of course, we didn't know governments were going to be in support of an EV future. But do you see? We had to take a bit of a leap of faith. Just like today, if you're hoping for 5 to 10x on Tesla, then you'll have to have some faith in the future of Tesla's products. You have to have the vision of seeing a Tesla future, perhaps with robotaxis and robots. Each of those too could 10x the stock price alone, as can energy. So there are several events remaining that can still 10x the current stock price, along with anything else Tesla might decide to launch in the meantime too. And just think, in 5 more years' time, if Tesla does 10x or something, and you didn't invest, what are you going to say to yourself? How did I miss robotaxis? It was obviously the future of transport. Just like all those years back, when a lot of us Tesla investors were saying, electric vehicles are the future of transport. How is everyone missing this? And now, here we are today, feeling very glad that we invested in electric cars, obviously being the future. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.